warmth found in the works by the Chinese writer Mr. Xuemo. So please subscribe our channel if you're new here. And we are mainly bringing Xuemo's works to the world, either in the way of the online live stream, and also we are attending the book fairs during internationally. So we just finished a 3 days of London book fair, and on March the 7th in London, an extraordinary roundtable forum took place at Royal Overseas League, one of the most historically meaningful cultural venues in the city. And the event was organized and chaired by Dr. Xian, chairman of Pencil Tree Charity, under the theme Love Conquers All. In Chinese, we say 有爱就有一切. And this phrase sounds simple, but in fact, it touched the deepest question facing humanity today. What remains when technology advances? Material civilization expands, yet the human heart continues suffer. This was not simply a literary salon, nor merely a charity gathering. It became a deeply moving exchange of civilizations, values, and visions for the future. So the principal guests of the evening were Zhang Huaichun and Chinese writer Mr. Xuemo. More than 30 distinguished guests attended, including scholars from literature, translation, and art, creators from different cultural fields, leaders of children's art foundations connected to royal charitable initiatives, economists, philanthropists, and individuals involved in royal service and cultural institutions. So what made this gathering remarkable was that every participant entered the dialogue from a different professional background, yet all were drawn toward one common question: what can humanity still rely on in an age of uncertainty? Because today the world is experiencing something very paradoxical. Material life has become richer, and technology has become more powerful. Artificial intelligence develops rapidly. Hi, so many new friends here. Please subscribe the channel if you are new here, and don't forget to double tap the screen to give me some likes for support. Thank you so much. Our channel is mainly about the inner strength, inner growth, inner peace, and inner reflection. So if you're on the way to inward, please subscribe our channel. Thank you. So, and nowadays, medical systems are increasingly advanced. Yet at the same time, many people feel more anxious, more fragmented, more spiritually exhausted than ever before. Wars continue, fear expands, loneliness deepens, and people begin to realize that external systems alone cannot fully solve inner suffering. That is why this roundtable became meaningful, because here literature, philosophy, medicine, humanitarian concern, and civilizational wisdom all entered one shared field of conversation. So if to the friends here, please let me know where you're from, and it is always happy to see people from all over the world gathering here in this little corner of the internet. And let me know where you're from. And throughout the discussion, many themes were explored, like art, literature, love, war, human responsibility, the future of children, the dignity of suffering, and the healing power of culture. Each guest shared from a professional perspective, but what was especially striking was that the atmosphere remained deeply open, warm, and intellectually alive. It was not a formal speech event where people merely delivered statements. It became a living conversation. One thought touched another, one culture illuminated another, one experience opened another possibility, and perhaps this is exactly what real dialogue means, not speaking louder, but listening deeper. And one important part of the event was the discussion of war. Because when we speak about love today, we cannot avoid speaking about war. War is not only a military event, war begins much earlier. Sometimes war begins in thought. Hi, if you're new here, please subscribe our channel. Thank you so much. And sometimes war begins in fear, sometimes war begins when desire overcomes conscience. During the discussion, this point became especially important. A modern war may begin from one political decision, one rising impulse, one unexamined desire for control. But behind every large scale conflict is still a human heart. Hi, if you're new here, please subscribe our channel. Good blessing from China and blessing from the UK because we are here in the United Kingdom. We are bringing Xuemo's works to the UK. Yes. So Xuemo's work can illuminate more readers in the light. So if the heart remains untrained, then systems alone cannot prevent destruction. This is why literature still matters, because literature does something politics often cannot do. Literature allows human beings to enter another person's suffering, to feel another life, to understand the consequences before they happen. And in that sense, literature is not decoration. Literature is moral imagination. It helps preserve human depth. And this is also why Chinese literary wisdom attracted great attention during the forum. Because Chinese culture has preserved for thousands of years a way of understanding suffering not merely as something to eliminate externally, but as something that can also be transformed internally. One of the most touching moments came when the conversation turned the world toward severe illness, especially cancer patients and those facing extreme psychological despair. At the event, the Royal Marsden Cancer Charity received a donation of £4,000 from the Xuemo Foundation. And this donation was not merely financial, it carries symbolic meaning. It expressed a wish that compassion should not remain abstract. It should become action. And from there, the conversation naturally entered a deeper topic. Can literature help people who suffer from serious illness? Can humanistic wisdom reduce pain that medicine alone cannot reach? At this point, Xuemo shared the story of Yato, the central figure from his novel Eternal Love. Yato is a deeply moving literary image. She represents not only one person, she represents many human beings who, after receiving devastating medical diagnosis, enter a state where life itself seems impossible to continue. In the novel, after severe illness arrives, Yato falls into intense despair. Not only physical suffering, but psychological collapse, fear, darkness, meaninglessness, and what becomes most painful is not simply disease itself, but the loss of inner light. Hello, if you're new here, please subscribe our channel and give me some likes for support. Thank you so much. we are talking about the topic today is love conquers all, and what literature can do to human, the uh, humanistic healing. So this is something modern medicine often encounters. Medicine can intervene in the body, but when a person loses hope, what restores meaning? And here literature begins to act differently. Because in Eternal Love by Xuemo, uh, which is available on Amazon, the main character, Yato, gradually does not recover through eternal force alone. She recovers through awakening, through wisdom, through the reorganization of inner perception, through an encounter with deeper dimension of life. Xuemo explained that Chinese traditional wisdom carries something especially important. It teaches that suffering is real, but suffering does not have to define consciousness. Fear can cover the heart like fog, but fog can disperse. And when fog disperses, the original dignity of humanity reappears. This image deeply moved many people present. Because in today's world, many patients suffer twice, once from disease and once from loneliness inside disease. That second suffering is often harder, and this is why humanistic care matters. So Xuemo also mentioned that over the years, many books have been donated to hospitals and medical institutes in China, including major hospitals in Shanghai and other cities. Some of these books entered wards where seriously ill patients were living under enormous emotional pressure, and many readers later reported something very meaningful. A pain did not disappear completely, but part of the darkness became lighter, part of the fear loosened, part of the loneliness became bearable. And this itself is already healing, because healing is not always cure. Sometimes healing means restoring inner dignity. This point generated very strong resonance during the discussion, because Western medicine today has reached extraordinary technological precision. But even advanced medicine increasingly recognizes a patient's not only a biological body, a patient's also memory, emotion, fear, hope, relationship, meaning, and therefore, perhaps the future should not be a competition between medical science and humanistic wisdom. Perhaps the future should be integration. This idea becomes one of the most inspiring parts of the forum. So, can Chinese humanistic wisdom and Western medicine meet, not as replacement but as complement? Western medicine treats the visible mechanism. Chinese wisdom often addresses invisible emotional structure. So one enters the body, one enters the heart. Hey, if you're new here, please subscribe the channel and let me know where you're from. Very glad you're here in our channel. We are not about entertainment, but a place for growth, and a place where you can nourishing your spirit. So because if technology prolongs life but cannot answer despair, then something remains unfinished. What Chinese civilization offers in this field may be deeply valuable, because Chinese culture developed not merely around disease treatment, but around life cultivation. It asks, how should a person face suffering? How should a fear be understood? How should death be contemplated? How should meaning survive difficulty? These are not old questions, these are future questions. Because this was not exotic philosophy, it was immediately human. The discussion also touched on another profound issue. Human beings today possesses enormous external capability, yet inner training has not kept pace. And this imbalance may explain much of modern crisis. Technology expands faster than wisdom. Power expands faster than responsibility. And information expands faster than discernment. Hi, please. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for passing by. Please subscribe our channel if you are new here and leave a message here. Hi, Adrian. Hello. What do you mean by your message? So, where should correction begin? Hi, if you're new here, please subscribe channel. Good blessing from China and also good blessing from the UK. We're here in UK bringing Xuemo's works to the world. Please subscribe our channel. Thank you so much. Thank you. Good luck. So many speakers at the roundtable forum return to the same answer. Education of the heart and literature remains one of the strongest paths because literature does not order people, it quietly changes their inner horizon. It teaches empathy without command. It teaches responsibility without slogans. And when literature enters public life together with charity, dialogue, and humanitarian action, it becomes more than art. So it becomes social healing. Hi, thank you so much. Please subscribe to the channel if you are new here. We are mainly about the inner strength, yes, and illuminate your inner light. So please subscribe to the channel. Thank you for your support. I'm from China, and we are introducing Xuemo's works to the world. So when literature enters public life together with charity, it becomes more than art. It becomes social healing. That is perhaps what happened in London yesterday as a historical venue with voices from East and West, with scholars, artists, thinkers, and practitioners gathered around one table, not to produce immediate answers, but to keep alive one essential human possibility. That dialogue is still possible. That love is still stronger than indifferences. So perhaps this is why the title remains so powerful throughout the evening. Love conquers all. Not because love removes difficulty instantly, but because without love, no system remains fully human. Without love, medicine becomes mechanical. Without love, politics becomes cold. Without love, knowledge becomes incomplete. Without love, even peace becomes fragile. And therefore, perhaps the deepest task of our century is not merely development, it is preserving humanity while developing. And the end of the evening, what remained the strongest was not only intellectual content, it was atmosphere, a sense that something rare had happened, people from different worlds had genuinely listened. Perhaps this is itself already a kind of hope. Because civilization advances not only through invention, but through moments when one human being truly reaches another. And perhaps this is exactly what literature has always tried to do, and what love still continues to do. Hi. Oh, thank you for your message. So Joanna has always been so fantastic. Thank you. And what I will be so glad to see is that um, read Xuemo's works and we can talk about it, right? So let's continue talk about the love, human dignity, and the future of humanistic care. There is one book I especially want to recommend again and again because it truly belongs to this conversation. That book is Eternal Love, written by Xuemo. Xuemo as Xuemo. And this book, Eternal Love, is available on Amazon. I believe Eternal Love is not simply a novel. Eternal Love is a deeply human book. And it is a work that enters one of the most difficult places in human life, the moment when illness, fear, loneliness, and despair begin to surround a person so completely that even breathing can feel heavy. And this is exactly why eternal life becomes so important today. And because modern society has advanced rapidly, medicine is more developed, technology is stronger, hospitals are more modern, yet many people still suffer silently inside themselves. A person may receive treatment but still remain emotionally isolated. A person may survive physically but inwardly lose hope. And what literature can do when it is true literature is that it enters the place where medicine cannot fully reach. That is exactly what eternal love does. In eternal love, Xuemo creates a central figure whose emotional experience touches something universal. The story shows how a young woman, after entering severe suffering, faces not only physical pain but the collapse of inner meaning. The darkness she experiences is not only medical, it is existential. This is why eternal love is not simply about illness. Eternal love is about the rescue of the human heart. So, again and again, when reading Eternal Love, we realize that the deepest pain is often not disease itself, but what disease does to consciousness. Fear expands, isolation grows, the world becomes narrow, and many patients begin to feel that no one truly understands their inner suffering. That is why eternal love is powerful, because eternal love does not speak abstractly. It enters that inner darkness carefully, and then slowly, through wisdom, language, and spiritual awakening, light begins to return. This is one reason why eternal love has touched many readers, because eternal love offers not simply comfort, but recognition. Readers feel, yes, someone understands what this pair feels like. And then gradually they also feel, yes, perhaps despair is not the final truth. This is where Xuemo brings something unique. Because Xuemo does not write only from literary imagination, he writes from a deep understanding of Chinese humanistic wisdom. And this wisdom appears naturally inside eternal love. In eternal love, suffering is never denied. Pain is real, fear is real, illness is real, but eternal love also suggests something equally important. A human being is larger than suffering, and sometimes the heart can awaken even inside pain. This is why eternal love belongs not only to literature but also to humanistic care. Today, when we speak internationally about medical system, psychological support, and humanitarian concern, like eternal love become extremely valuable because eternal love offers emotional companionship. Sometimes a patient reads medical reports every day, but what they need most is one sentence that restores inner warmth. Sometimes a family member feels helpless, but one chapter from eternal love may suddenly offer another perspective. That is why eternal love is not only for people facing illness, eternal is for anyone who has ever experienced emotional exhaustion, uncertainty, grief, or loneliness. And perhaps that means eternal love is for almost everyone in modern society. Another reason why eternal love matters today is that it reminds us that love itself is not sentimental. Real love carries responsibility. Real love carries patience. Real love remains present even when there is no immediate solution. This is exactly the kind of love the world urgently needs now. And therefore, eternal love is not an old fashioned emotional novel. It is a contemporary book for a world that increasingly needs inner depth. So, when people ask why literature still matters in an age of artificial intelligence, I think eternal love already gives an answer. Because machines can provide information, but eternal love provides human resonance. Machine can answer quickly, but eternal love stays beside human suffering slowly. And machines can simulate language, but eternal love carries lived warmth. That difference matters. This is why I truly recommend Eternal Love tonight if you want to understand how literature can become healing, if you want to see how Eastern wisdom can enter modern emotional life, if you want to encounter a book that speaks gently but deeply, then Eternal Love is a book worth reading. And hi, Sujit. Hello. You are from the United States. Hello, welcome to our channel, and please subscribe our page. Thank you so much. Hmm, I'm now here in the UK, and you are in the USA. Okay, so uh, we are mainly about the inner strength, inner growth, and the topic today is love conquers all. And the literature can bring humanistic care to the patient. So we are talking about this topic. And don't forget to follow us and subscribe our channel. Thank you so much. So Eternal Love by Xuemo is available internationally. You can purchase Eternal Love on Amazon, and it is also available through our global online shop.xuemo.com. So whether you're in Europe, America, Asia, or elsewhere, Eternal Love can reach you. And I truly believe Eternal Love should reach more readers because Eternal Love is not merely a Chinese literary work translated into English. It is a human book crossing cultural boundaries. A reader in London can understand Eternal Love. A reader in New York can understand Eternal Love. A reader in Singapore can understand Eternal Love because pain is universal, hope is universal, and the longing to be understood is universal. That is why Eternal Love travels naturally. And this is also why Xuemo continues to receive attention internationally because Xuemo's writing does not merely describe life, it enters the invisible part of life. And among his many works, Eternal Love has a very special tenderness. So if if now we speak about love conquering despair, about literature entering hospitals, about humanistic care illuminating illness, then again eternal love is exactly the book that belongs here. So I want to repeat once more. If you have not yet read Eternal Love, please read Eternal Love by Xuemo. So Xuemo as Xuemo, Xuemo. So if you want to share a meaningful book with someone going through difficulty, choose Eternal Love. If you want literature that carries warmth, choose Eternal Love. If you want to understand why literature still matters in modern civilization, begin with Eternal Love. Because sometimes one book does not merely tell a story. Sometimes one book quietly accompanies a life, and Eternal Love is such a book. Hi, gamers. Hi, Alan. Hello. Welcome to our channel. Please subscribe. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your support and a good blessing from China and also a good blessing from the UK. Mm, we just finished the London Book Fair. We have our own booth there, and this is the second time we are attending the London Book Fair. Also, tomorrow there will be an event at the University of Bath. So after speaking about love, literature, and the healing power of humanistic care, I believe there is another very important question that naturally follows. That question is, why does culture still matter so deeply today? Why do literature, art, and humanistic dialogue remain necessary in a world already filled with technology, institutions, and systems? Perhaps one simple answer is this: because human beings are never shaped only by systems. Human beings are shaped by what grows inside them. And inside every human being, there is always both possibility and danger. There is kindness, but there is also cruelty. There is compassion, but there is also selfishness. There is generosity, but there is also fear, anger, jealousy, and destruction. In other words, human nature has always contained both light and shadow. And perhaps the most realistic understanding of humanity is not to deny either side. Hi, Babu. Hello, I'm fine. I feel blessing every moment. Please subscribe to our channel if you're new here. Thank you so much. So we cannot simply say human beings are naturally good, nor can we say human beings are naturally evil. What matters more is which part becomes active, which part receives nourishment, and which part is encouraged to grow. Because what grows inside a person eventually becomes visible outside. A person whose inner world is filled with fear often creates tension. A person whose inner world is filled with resentment often spreads conflict. A person whose inner world is nourished by understanding often creates warmth. That is why humanistic culture matters so much, because culture is not decoration, literature is not luxury, art is not something secondary. They are forms of inner cultivation. They influence what becomes active inside a person. And perhaps the deepest value of a humanistic spirit is exactly this: to awaken the good inside human nature and to prevent the harmful parts from dominating life. This idea became especially meaningful during the recent Roundtable Forum in London. Because while many guests came from different professional backgrounds, one feeling gradually became shared across the room. The world today possesses enormous external development, but inner development has not kept pace. We see scientific progress, we see medical breakthroughs, we see artificial intelligence becoming stronger every year, we see communication becoming instant across continents, but we also see something else. Wars continue, distrust deepens, mental anxiety spreads, loneliness becomes widespread, and even highly developed societies increasingly ask like this. Hi, Barbaro. Hi, thank you. Thank you for your support. So you will begin to read Desert Rights, right? You can find it on Amazon. Either you can search for Desert Rights or you can search for Xuemo, Xuemo. And let me know after your purchase. Thank you. Thank you for your support. Okay, let me know. Go to Amazon. Why not now? So, and even highly developed societies increasingly ask, why does suffering remain so strong? And why does violence continue even when education levels rise? Why does fear still govern so many decisions? Perhaps because technical development alone cannot cultivate the heart. A person may be highly educated, but inwardly fragmented. A society may be materially advanced, but spiritually tired. And this is exactly where literature and art become necessary. Because literature and art do not merely provide information, they cultivate perception, they enlarge moral imagination, they make a person capable of feeling another person's reality. And once empathy deepens, cruelty becomes harder to justify. This is why humanistic education remains irreplaceable. And at the forum, one very meaningful metaphor emerged. The human heart is like soil. So this soil can produce different things. If we plant carefully, it produces nourishment. If we neglect it, something else grows. And culture is exactly the act of planting. Literature is planting, art is planting, dialogue is planting, wisdom is planting. Every meaningful book, every sincere conversation, every profound artistic encounter places something into that inner soil. And what we plant matters greatly, because if no one plants consciously, wild growth takes over. That is why another image becomes very important. The more crops there are in the field, the fewer weeds remain. This is a very simple image, but perhaps one of the deepest ways to understand education and civilization. If the soil of the heart is empty, weeds naturally grow. Fear grows quickly, resentment grows quickly, hatred grows quickly, suspicion grows quickly. But when good seeds are planted continuously, the situation changes. When compassion is planted, cruelty loses space. When reflection is planted, impulsiveness loses force. When literature enters the heart, inner violence becomes harder to dominate. When beauty enters consciousness, destruction no longer feels natural. And if one day the field becomes full of crops, weeds lose their place entirely. This is why humanistic work should never be underestimated. Many people today think literature changes little, but literature changes slowly and deeply. A policy may change quickly, a law may change quickly, a market may change quickly, but literature changes the invisible foundations from which future actions emerge. That is slower, but often more lasting. This is also why the recent London dialogue became meaningful, because although the roundtable involved literature, art, charity, and the philosophy, what truly happened was something deeper. Seeds were planted. Different cultures listened to each other. Different experiences enter one shared field. And perhaps in that room, something quiet but important began. Mutual trust. And trust is itself cultural soil. Without trust, no meaningful cooperation survives. Without trust, even good ideas remain temporary. This is why culture should not be treated as secondary diplomacy. Culture often creates what politics later depends on. Because culture enters where argument cannot. Culture softens what fear hardens. Culture opens what ideology closes. And here, Eastern wisdom becomes especially relevant because Eastern civilization has long understood that the deepest battles of humanity happen inwardly before they appear outwardly. And Chinese wisdom repeatedly teaches that external disorder usually reflects inner disorder. If the heart is unsettled, decisions become unstable. If desire becomes excessive, judgment becomes distorted. If fear dominates consciousness, even intelligence serves confusion. This insight matters greatly today because many global crises may look political, economic, or technological, but often they are rooted in inner imbalance. And this is why the world increasingly needs wisdom traditions that speaks not only about system but about consciousness. Hi, hello, welcome, welcome to our channel. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your time. Uh, you mean my voice or the voice from the the, the channel? My voice is actually good. So, what is the meaning of life? Actually, I think Xuemo will be do the live stream in 25 minutes. You can come to our live stream and leave your message about life, about literature, about spirituality. Uh, so every day, Mr. Xuemo will do the live stream from 5 a.m. to 5:30 a.m. Beijing time. So welcome. So stay with us. Xuemo will do the live stream in 25 minutes, and I will close the live stream now and then open the live stream later in 25 minutes, and I will do the translation support. You can leave your message. Thank you. Okay, these are for today's live stream. The topic is about love conquers all and what, what literature can do to the humanistic care. Okay, and the book I recommend today is Eternal Love. Eternal love is like a carrier of humanistic wisdom to the patients. So thank you for your time. Thank you, love from China. Please subscribe our channel if you are new here. We are mainly about the spiritual wisdom and human warmth found in the works by the Chinese writer, Mr. Xuemo. Okay, please subscribe our channel. Thank you. See you later. In 25 minutes, Xuemo will be to the live stream. Thank you. Bye.